Hi, I'd like to share some thoughts with you again. And I'm thinking about real freedom. And the opposite of real freedom for me is, and I mean that on a very personal level, is holding yourself hostage. And I observe, including myself, that we all have something in common. I think it's the big secret that we all share. And not so many people dare to talk about it or think about it at all, is how we hold ourselves hostage in everyday life and why. And we're all talking about freedom and being free and how good it is, but don't notice how we lock ourselves in and behave as we were the capturer of our own life. And of course, very often it has to do with our upbringing, with our childhood, with our ancestral history. Like, for example, I tell you something for myself, and don't get bored, I hope. Everybody in my family was somehow imprisoned or persecuted, and I was then the first one who was supposed to live in freedom. And like, for example, my father, who, oh God, he spent 20 years of his best years in the Russian Gulag, the labor camps, in Siberia and so on. You can't imagine what those people go through. And I took on a lot of that imprisonment of my father, of my forefathers that I didn't never meet. And this is why I'm so fascinated with family dynamics, because we live a certain rule and limitation, and we're not even aware. Even people are very smart and work on themselves. They don't notice, because we all have a blind spot. We all have a blind spot, no matter how much you work on yourself. And they don't notice how much they actually hold themselves hostage, like with their decisions they make. I can't have everything. And I don't mean stupid entitlement. I mean, I can't have a good relationship and have a good career and be a good mother and be a good daughter. It has to be either or there's always a way too high price to pay. Or if I don't do this certain thing that I actually don't want to do in my life, but I keep on doing it, this is how we hold ourselves hostage. And very often then we go into a Stockholm Syndrome. Like in Stockholm, when those capturers, they were going into a bank and they had hostages, and when then the police came and they wanted to free them, the hostages, they were working against the police and were collaborating with the capturers. And look at yourself. I do that with me regularly, and I always think, oh my God, another thing. Do that with yourself. Look where you actually collaborate with being held captive by yourself, by others, and that hold you in a certain place, and you're supposed to be like this in order to be accepted, or in order to have a good business, or in order to be good, in some way, and how much we actually fight what would free us in the first place, and then we undermine our needs. A lot of people don't even know what they need. They don't even think about it, because they need what they are told to need. Really, like when you're a hostage and you're captured and you suppress your own needs for the sake of surviving, and this is what's behind it, and you take on the captive's needs, the capturer's needs. And a lot of people do that in their society, in their family, in their country, in their friendships, in their workplace. They don't even know anymore what they need. And for me, real freedom is to be awake, to know about those things, and not to just assume, just because you say you're free, that you really are. So make a double check. Where do you keep yourself hostage? And I do that very often with how much joy I'm allowed to live in my life, just to let you know. So maybe you let me know how you do it.